have you ever stacked a dozen plugins just to get that one little part of your song to sound really good? Like you got EQ, delay, saturation, reverb. You're trying to route, automate, mask, unmask. It gets so cluttered, messy, and then you got to do some mix revisions. In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace all those complex plugin chains. And literally, we're going to paint in our own sonic palette. It's going to be cool. You're going to like it. I'm Bradley Denniston. I've contributed to Grammy, Emmy, and Oscar-nominated projects. I've earned platinum records, and I've worked with artists like Tegan and Sara, Gautier, The Lonely Island, and G-Eazy. And of course, you guys, I'm just as excited to be here with you, sharing this brand new plugin from iZotope. It's the FXEQ, and it's one of those super rare plugins that I kind of stopped mid-session, and I was like, hold on. Why hasn't anyone done this before? So in this video, I'm gonna show you what the new FXEQ is all about. I'm going to throw it into my new song. I'm gonna show you some cool stuff with vocals, a few tips and tricks to help you paint new sonic textures and landscapes with your own music. And we're gonna dive right in, just have some fun. Let's go. FXEQ. Really, really fun plugin. It's like painting with textures and EQ and saturation, reverb, delay, modulation. I have this post-chorus thing. I'm just going to play you a before and after. I have the FXEQ on every single element besides the drums on this part. So let's check this out. This is before, completely dry, no FXEQ on it. It's got a vibe, but I want this to be spacious. I want it to be distorted. I want it to be interesting, wide, delayed, have some really cool textures to it. And that's where all these FXEQs come in. So I have this on the Vox ad-libs and the 2 analog synths and the guitars on here. So let's check this out. I'm gonna put them all back in. Such a dynamic and creative process here. So in the past, here's how I would do it, right? I would go to, let's say, this Trigon synth here. And this is just my lead synth. Check it out. Okay, so that's a Trigon sequential analog synth. I would make a bus. You know, I got this going to bus 1. And then I would have to put on some reverb, and then I'd EQ after the reverb, and then I might add a compressor, and then I might add flanging, and I might add like, who knows, 6, 7, 8 plugins, right? But now, instead of doing that send, I can just turn on this FXEQ as an insert, and I can just paint in where I want to paint in. Also, the visualizer of the EQ really helps because right away you can see the fundamental of the frequency, and you can add that effect, that saturation, that reverb, that delay just to that fundamental or to the harmonics of that sound. So check it out. I'm gonna play this, and we're just gonna look at this, and I'm gonna bypass and mess around with just everything. So by holding down Option, I can solo out that area, and then I can just really hone in. Is that the fundamental? Yeah, cool. And all sorts of different distortion, saturation algorithms. We got satin, tape, grit, foldback, snap. A couple of my favorites, I love the corrode, and I love the satin because it's just super silky, right? So the corrode sounds like this. And that's just gonna help that sound cut through on small speakers as well as big speakers and give your sound a really cool vibe, obviously. The reverb is super dope. We have chamber, hall, and plate, okay? So honestly, the classics. And then we have a pre-delay and a decay. A big tip for reverb, if you guys want a really nice, spacious, deep reverb, you wanna take the pre-delay up a little bit, right? It'll separate the initial sound of the reverb. So I have it at 36 milliseconds. I try to stay below 40 milliseconds because once you really go over 40 milliseconds, you're hearing that as like an actual delay, okay? So this will just kind of give separation to the reverb, to the first time you hear the reverb. And then the decay, I keep it pretty long because this is going to be so specific to frequencies, and you can really tighten in on this cue and get some crazy sound effects with it. But right now what I'm doing is fundamental and then kind of the top harmonics of this sound in the reverb. And let's just solo this out. So I'm gonna turn off everything else and just hear the reverb here. mean, you can do so much with this, and it's just a lot of fun to mess with. But let's dive in now to the chorus vocals, because that's my favorite part of the song. And I really want to show you what this can do on vocals, because I'm a vocalist. Now let's build the FXEQ chain from scratch with our vocals on the chorus. So here is pre-chorus going into the chorus. The pre-chorus I've already kind of dialed in with the FXEQ. So here's what that looks like on the lead pre. And then I also have these harmonies on the vocals, which are stereo. Okay, so these two are kind of my pre-chorus vocal chains, okay? You guys can check those out, and I'll play this back for you. So that is the chorus. It's dry. There's nothing on the vocals right now. So let's start to build some stuff out. So I have a lead vocal, I have a double vocal, and then I have a harmony vocal, which is harms left and right. So you can see it's a stereo file here, okay? So on the lead vocal, I just have this reverb going on right in the mid-range. And I'm gonna solo this out, and we're just gonna pop the reverb on just on the lead. Great, so that's on the lead vocal. Let's mute the other vocals just so we can really focus on it. And we're going to take this and add another node. And that's the cool part. You can have up to 6 nodes on each of these, right? So I can go here, boop, 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 and we can just get really precise, really, you know, dialed in, do some weird effects on the low end, the high end, whatever we want to do with this reverb. So this is the creative part of this plugin that I just love so much. And it keeps me inspired. It keeps me going like, oh, well, what if I did this, you know? And you're just painting. Like, I'm not thinking about this, which is great because mixing is a very creative process. No two mixes are the same. Here's what we got now. Let's pop on this reverb, lead vocal only. Beautiful. Now let's add some delay. I just want to add maybe a quarter note is good actually. And we'll do some crunch and some ping pong here. And all you do is grab the node and figure out where you want it. You can hold Option and really solo that delay here. Great. Sounds good to me. So we're just adding this just to the low part because a delay filtered sounds more deep, right? It's just the way it works. So this is really cool. Crunch, you can flip through these. Some of these are, you know, more fitting for the style than others, right? I have this classic. Let's try this out. Just giving it a little bit of depth, right? So let's add some saturation to help this vocal really just cut in the mix. And on this, I'm going to try the grit here, and we're just going to give it some grit in the mid-range. Remember, we can tilt this and we can make it stand out more in the mix by making it a little brighter, or we can darken it and give it the grit that sounds kind of filtered, right? And tapered off. So I'm gonna just kind of drive it a little bit and then push it into the high tilt. That is sounding good. All right, before and after, let's bypass it. Who am I to even try? You knew I'd be washed up in your summer rain. 2 warm clouds float above my head. I knew I'd be washed up in your summer rain. Fire! Fuego! Drop a fuego emoji. Drop a fire emoji. Always love all those fire emojis in the comments. Let's go. See how many we can get in there. All right, so that's the lead vocal. Let's pop in the double. Here's a really fun thing, right? I'm just going to option drag it over. And I do this a lot with doubles. If I'm going to stack a double right on top of a lead, I want it to be different, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to go whoop like that, and we're going to go whoop down here, and we're going to take that double, go over here, and then this delay, we're going to bring it way up here, right? And let's just hear it. And we might even switch like some of the grit and stuff, right? So let's go to like steel on this one, drive less, tilt it a little bit darker, right? And I'm just like, boop, 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 you know, dialing it in, painting. The chamber, let's go to a plate and let's take the pre-delay up to like 39 and we'll go to like 2.8 or so. And then on the modulation, on the chorus, we're going to do some chorus modulation just in the mid-range here. Bing. Sounding good, right? So this is a double. So what I was trying to do with this song is go a little bit New Jack Swing 90s production on it, where you are doubling right on top. You're not doing modern production where you're doubling left and right and center, you know? I want it to sound dated, right? That's the whole idea here. So that's what I'm doing. We're gonna make it sound dated. All right, so let's tighten this up. I want to really just focus on that mid-range, and let's get this reverb to be tighter here, and let's open it up on the top here so it could be a little bit splashier. And the delay, let's do it as like an effect. Let's like really pinpoint a delay frequency, and let's find that. Now that we have this dialed in, I think it's too much. Good thing we got this amount slider and we could just dial it back a little bit. And let's get it in the mix. Sick. Sounds awesome to me. So that's kind of the vibe here. So the last thing I'm going to show you on these vocals is the harmonies, right? We have a left-right harmony, and this is a stereo track. So let's open up FXEQ again to make sure we're in stereo mode. And we have a stereo version of this. And you can see it held everything from the last one that we copied. I just switched it to stereo. And let's go 100% here. And let's turn off the delay. And let's turn off the saturation. And let's really focus on this lo-fi and the modulation for these doubles. And we're going to go into a doubler. I might mess around with a flanger or phaser, but we can switch around. You know, we'll just kind of flip through these by using these arrows. And we can just check out what's going on here. So first thing I'm going to start with is the doubler. And then we're going to maybe do some saturation, actually. Let's do saturation up here. Yeah, like at the top of the vocal mid-range. And we'll try a different thing. We'll do grit here, and we'll tilt it to be a little bit brighter. And reverb, sure. Leave the reverb on because every vocal loves reverb, right? Especially doubles and harmonies. So here's what the harmonies sound like.
Who am I to even try? You knew I'd be washed up in your summer rain.
Amazing, right? And we kind of, they were too dark when we had the reverb down here. So I brought it all up to the top, right? So we can just kind of shift it all up to the top. No sending to a new reverb, EQing after it, and really like spending all this time. Just paint it in, right? Super simple. And then the modulation, we're going to do this, and we're going to go to the top kind of stuff as well.
Who am I to even try? You knew I'd be washed up in your summer rain. Who am I to even try? You knew I'd be washed up in your summer rain.
All right, before and after of that vocal, and then we'll pop it in the mix.
Who am I to even try? You knew I'd be washed up in your summer rain.
Amazing. I I love it. It's a fun effect. You guys have to check it out. Click the link in the description. Go demo it. Go tap in with this FXEQ. It's one of the coolest processors and the most fun I've had in a long time just mixing. And I put off mixing a lot of times because I'm like, oh, I don't want to go through all that sending and subgrouping and all this stuff. Like, this is just like boop, 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 boop. Oh, that sounds good. I like that. Done. This plugin, FXEQ, is available right now. So you guys click that link in the description, go pick it up, go mess around with it. I think you'll love it. And if you got any questions at all, drop them in the comments. I'll see you guys next time.
I be washed up in